According to our Ramona Shelburne, the Lakers finally have a coach. Byron Scott and the team agreed in principle on a 4-year, $17 million contract Saturday night. When asked about the future, Byron Scott thinks things can turn around quickly. That's good. It's good. How good will the Lakers be, Stephen A., according to one Byron Scott, and your take on it?
Not much. I don't expect them to be very, very good at all. The Los Angeles Lakers don't have a roster. Last time I checked, Byron Scott is no longer the shooting guard, playing alongside Magic Johnson and James Worthy and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and these boys, winning 3 of the 5 championships that they captured in the 80s. Byron Scott is a coach. He took the New Jersey Nets to 2 titles, to 2 trips to the NBA Finals with Kenyon Martin, Richard Jefferson, and Jason Kidd. He took the New Orleans Hornets to the playoffs with Chris Paul, putting forth one of the most epic beatdowns I've ever seen, what he distributed to Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, sort of his coming out party when he kept pulling out his mouthpiece saying he can't guard me, to get revenge on Jason Kidd because of the separation that Jason Kidd had with Byron Scott, because the belief is Jason Kidd got him fired when he was in New Jersey. Byron Scott still hasn't forgiven that. I'm here to tell you that right now. But I will say this to you. I think that Byron Scott knows the game. I think that he's fiery. He gets in guys' faces. He will hold them accountable. Plus, I think he has the uncanny ability to do that while cultivating relationships with them. Okay? So, in that regard, I think he's good for the Lakers. I would consider it a good hire because I think that's what Kobe wants. That's what Kobe needs, and that helps. Thank goodness Kobe finally got something he wanted in L.A. But in the end, who are you playing with? And no disrespect to the Jordan Hills and the Swaggy P's, Nick Young, and people like that. Carlos Boozer's there now with a post presence or whatever. I'm just looking at the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm saying your roster is side. It's so-so. You're not going to, it's not like you're going to win 15 games, but you ain't going to win 50. You know, you're going to be interesting from time to time. You'll win a few games. You'll probably miss the playoffs. It's nothing special because Byron Scott doesn't have the roster for this team to be special. It's that simple to me.
I disagree with your take on the Lakers. I think they're going to be better than you think.
We'll see.
I think you're being disrespectful.
Oh, please stop.
But
not being disrespectful.
Well,
you see that roster?
Who's that guy? Help
Kobe?
me out. Oh, yeah, that Kobe guy. Is he still playing?
Yeah, he does.
Oh.
I'm talking about one. I know what Kobe can do. My questions are not about
do
him.
you? Because I don't know what he can do now.
I do.
This will be his 19th year, coming off 2 very serious injuries.
I believe in the Mamba.
Well, do you?
I believe in the Mamba. Excuse me, the Mamba was there in his prime after Shaq left, won just 34 games. And then another year, they got to the first round of the playoffs once Phil came back, and they got bounced out in the first round. The Mamba cannot do it by himself. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I'm going to guess, and I can only guess, that the Mamba will be 80% of what he used to be. And if I'm right about that, I think the Lakers will be much better than people think. They will not make the playoffs in the Western Conference, but I think they'll finish about what the Timberwolves finished this year, which is 40-42. I could see them winning 40 games if Kobe's 80% of the old Kobe.
All right.
And I'm going to point out to you, over the last 3 games, remember, this is Kobe's 19th season, 19th year. That's just incomprehensible to me. But
he's the man.
Okay. Over the last 3 seasons, he hasn't played a whole lot of basketball.
Which is why you shouldn't which is why you should not sweat the 19 years.
Okay.
Because over the last couple of years, he hasn't played any games.
The silver lining to the last 3 years, as bad as they were, starting with the lockout year, and then the Achilles year, and then the 2 injuries last year, is that he went, what, 58 games in the lockout season plus 12 in the playoffs, then 78 before he tore his Achilles, missed the playoffs, and only 6 last year. Well, those are the 3 easiest seasons that he's ever played. The previous 15 were much harder on his body. So I'm going to think if he can bounce back, he's got a real good shot at bouncing back. And then I look at the rest of this roster that you just quickly dismiss. I think Julius Randle will be pretty good. And I think Ed Davis was a quietly very good move. Just a small, big move for them.
He's a good front-line player.
All right.
Their front line is going to be relatively different, decent, with Boozer added to the mix. Jeremy Lin's on the squad in the backcourt.
I think he's slightly above average. And so if you put Jeremy Lin out there with Swaggy P, let's just call him Nick Young, because I think he's pretty good. And I think Jordan Hill in spurts can be pretty good. And I think Ryan Kelly had his moments last year. You can laugh all you want. I think he's pretty good. Wesley Johnson's pretty good. Xavier Henry had his moments last year. He was pretty good. I just went about, what did I go, 10 or 11 deep? I think that's pretty good. If Kobe is 80% of Kobe, well, now I'm looking at a respectable team next year.
Well, see, first of all, when I say Swaggy P, I'm not knocking Nick Young. I'm just knocking the nickname. I mean,
I
think you could do better than Swaggy P. Okay, that's just me.
I think it's caught on. Am I right?
Well, of course it caught on, but that don't mean it's for a good reason. Okay, so that's number one. Number two. What I'm trying to say, Skip Bayless, it's about the Western Conference. Now, if you're in the East and I look at the Laker roster, I say, you know what? They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be all right.
No doubt.
All right. In the West, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, the Clippers, Golden State, Portland, Houston. I mean, come on now. So all I'm saying to you is I look at them and I say, hey, you know, you're out West. I don't see you helping yourself for what you do. And not only that, again, you're relying on Kobe Bryant coming back and doing what he did. You had $30 million in cap space. You are the Lakers, and you couldn't get anybody to come. The only reason you got booze is because you got him off the amnesty after he was amnestied in Chicago.
But that helped a little bit.
All right.
So remember that pick there, Phoenix is top 5 protected, which means if they finish in the bottom 5, they were 6th from the bottom last year, then they get to keep that pick. So if they're really, really bad, they get to keep that pick. They won 27 games last year. So if they won, I don't know, 20 games this year, they could effectively, realistically keep that pick. I don't think they're going to keep that pick. I think they'll be better than 27 games because I think they got a shot at 40 games.
Okay. I agree with you.
And the last quick point about Byron Scott, that's no small thing to sign Byron Scott.
Okay, why, though? Why do you feel that way?
Because a lot of people dismiss him. He had problems in Cleveland. We can go on and on. All I know is the 2 New Jersey teams that we're talking about that got to the finals. Let's just rank him this way. Where would I put Byron Scott in the echelons of coaches? I still have him in the top 1/3 of NBA coaches. Well, top 1/3.
I'm saying to you, well, I don't know that because I got to take the years in Cleveland into account. He didn't have much to work with.
No.
But, my goodness, you didn't have to be that bad either. But I believe in Byron Scott. But here's why you should be excited about the Lakers hiring Byron Scott. He's a Laker.
Sure.
And that matters because Jim Buss went away from that. You see what I'm saying? Went away from that with Mike Brown. Went away from that with Mike D'Antoni. Now he's getting back to giving the people what he believes they would want to see.
Sure.
And the fact that he cares enough about that goes a long way.
Okay, and I loved it that the first word out of his mouth and the first word he texted Kobe, defense. You better get ready to play some defense because they haven't played it.
And that's
not since D'Antoni arrived.
Okay, I thought he said let's wreck the league, but I guess not. All right,
I don't think
he didn't say that. That wasn't the text. Okay, coming up next, folks.